Blood spattered across the control panel of Earth's communications hub as High Counselor Janus's distress message from Benzia Prime played. The carnivorous humans gripping their plasma rifles with white knuckles, their fangs bared. "This is High Counselor Janus of the Benzite hegemony. Our homeworld is under siege by the Kragu. We cannot hold them back much longer. To any spacefaring civilizations receiving this message, we need your help. We are a peaceful people. We do not have weapons or armies. You are our only hope." Anthony Morales listened to the audio on loop, pacing back and forth. The Benzites had technology that could cure every damn disease, double the human lifespan. He and his squad of carnivorous ex-Navy SEALs were UEF's best chance to rescue their leadership and gain access. But the insectoid Kragu were no joke. Vicious, tech-advanced. If the Kragu managed to wipe out the Benzites and claim their medical secrets, humanity would pay the price. All those potential cures, lost forever. Morales gritted his teeth, turning to his squad. "Mac, Ghost, Roach, Rookie, get your fangs ready. We're the only ones that answered the distress call. You know what's at stake. Get your asses on the UEF interceptor." They nodded, following Morales onto the ship to Benzia Prime, gripping pulse rifles and baring their fangs. What they were about to do on this unfamiliar planet would go down as the most important and brutally ballsy operation in history. 5 humans pitted against overwhelming Kragu forces, fighting for humanity's future and the survival of a world. The UF interceptor descended through Benzia Prime's atmosphere, its stealth systems masking any trace of their arrival. As the dropship's ramp lowered, Morales and his team rushed out, pulse rifles and monomolecular blades at the ready. The sight that greeted them was one of chaos and destruction. Kragu warriors, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming in the sun, were laying waste to a Benzite settlement. The peaceful insectoid creatures scattered in terror, no match for the Kragu's advanced weaponry. Without hesitation, Morales and his team engaged the enemy. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air as the SOF operatives demonstrated their superior training and marksmanship. Morales, a veteran of countless battles, moved with lightning speed and precision. His plasma rifle spat death, each shot finding its mark in a Kragu warrior's head or thorax. When the enemy closed in, he switched to his monomolecular blade, the razor-sharp edge slicing through the Kragu's tough exoskeletons like a hot knife through butter. In a matter of minutes, a dozen Kragu lay dead at Morales' feet, their green ichor staining the ground. The rest of the team had performed admirably, securing the settlement and tending to the wounded Benzites. It was then that they learned the grave news. Several high-ranking Benzite officials, including High Counselor Janus's daughter Aria, had been captured by the Kragu. Morales felt a surge of anger and determination. He had grown to respect the Benzites during their brief time on the planet, admiring their commitment to peace and their advanced medical knowledge. The thought of them falling into the hands of the ruthless Kragu was unacceptable. "Listen up," Morales barked, gathering his team around him. "We've got a change of plans. Mac, Ghost, you're with me. We're going to rescue those captured officials, including Aria. Roach, Rookie, I need you to sabotage the Kragu's communication network. We can't afford to have them calling in reinforcements." The team nodded, their eyes glinting with the same resolve that burned in Morales' heart. They split up, each group heading towards their respective targets. Morales, Mac, and Ghost approached the Kragu's temporary base, a hastily erected structure on the outskirts of the settlement. They moved silently, their enhanced senses alert for any sign of danger. As they neared the entrance, a hulking figure emerged from the shadows, a heavily armored Kragu champion, wielding a plasma scythe that hummed with deadly energy. The champion let out a chittering war cry and charged at Morales, scythe raised high. Morales met the attack head-on, his monomolecular blade clashing against the scythe in a shower of sparks. The two warriors traded blows, their movements a blur of speed and power. The Kragu champion was skilled and strong, but Morales had years of combat experience and the natural aggression of a human on his side. In a final, desperate move, the champion lunged forward, its scythe aiming for Morales' heart. But Morales was faster. He sidestepped the blow and brought his blade down in a vicious arc, severing the champion's head from its body. As the corpse toppled to the ground, the other Kragu warriors nearby let out shrieks of terror and fled deeper into the base. Morales stood over his fallen foe, blood dripping from the deep gash across his chest. The wound burned, but he pushed the pain aside. There was still work to be done. Mac and Ghost flanked him, their weapons at the ready, as they prepared to infiltrate the base and rescue the captured Benzites. Morales and his team pushed deeper into the Kragu base, their enhanced reflexes and aim, allowing them to gun down the remaining warriors with ruthless efficiency. They soon located the holding cells where Arya and the other Benzite officials were being kept. Ghost took point, his plasma rifle spitting bolts of superheated energy as he covered Morales and Mac while they freed the captives. Just as the last Benzite was released, a Kragu plasma grenade detonated near Ghost, engulfing him in a blinding blast of white-hot plasma. Ghost screamed as the searing heat burned through his armor, the stench of charred flesh filling the air. "Ghost!" Morales yelled, rushing to his fallen comrade's side. Ghost was badly wounded, his armor melted and fused to his skin in places. Morales grimaced, knowing that Ghost needed immediate medical attention. "Roach, get your ass over here." Morales barked into his comm. "Ghost is down. I need you to take him and the Benzites back to the dropship now." Roach acknowledged the order and quickly arrived on the scene, helping Morales load Ghost and the rescued Benzites onto a hover transport. As Roach sped away with the wounded and the freed captives, Morales turned to Mac and Rookie, his eyes hard. "We're not done yet," he growled. "We still need to find Janus." The three remaining SOF operatives pressed on, their enhanced senses guiding them through the labyrinthine base. As they neared the heart of the facility, they stumbled upon a hidden laboratory filled with strange machines and holding tanks. Inside one of the tanks, they found High Counselor Janus, his frail form connected to a series of tubes and wires. Morales' blood boiled as he realized the truth. The Kragu had been experimenting on the captured Benzites, using them as guinea pigs in their twisted attempt to create biological weapons. With a roar of rage, Morales smashed the tank open, carefully disconnecting Janus from the machines. As Mac and Rookie provided cover fire, Morales downloaded the Kragu's research data onto a portable drive, hoping that the information could be used to develop countermeasures against any bioweapons the insectoid bastards might unleash. With Janus safe and the data secured, the team made their way back towards the dropship, fighting through waves of Kragu reinforcements. Suddenly the ground shook as a massive bipedal war machine emerged from a hidden hangar bay, a Kragu mech bristling with plasma cannons and missile launchers. "Fuck me sideways," Rookie muttered, his grip tightening on his rifle. Mac stepped forward, his eyes narrowing as he assessed the mech's weak points. "Rookie and I will draw its fire," he said calmly. "Morales, get Janus to the dropship." Morales nodded, not liking the plan but knowing it was their best chance. As he hurried Janus towards safety, Mac and Rookie engaged the mech. The junior operative sprinted low, ducking and weaving between the machine's legs as he fired his rifle at its joints. Mac, meanwhile, climbed atop the mech's back, planting a series of demolition charges near its power core. Leaping clear just as the charges detonated, Mac was caught in the edge of the blast wave, his body flung like a rag doll against a nearby wall. The mech, its power core destroyed, toppled to the ground in a massive explosion that lit up the sky. Morales watched in horror as Mac, his hard suit shattered and his body broken, lay motionless in the rubble. Rookie, battered but alive, crawled to his feet. The two survivors, carrying Janus between them, made their way to the dropship, where Roach waited with Ghost and the other rescued Benzites. As the dropship lifted off, escaping Benzia Prime's atmosphere, Morales closed his eyes, his heart heavy with the loss of Mac and the knowledge of the horrors the Kragu had inflicted upon the peaceful Benzites. The mission had been a success, but the cost had been high. The war against the Kragu was far from over, and Morales knew that he and his team would be called upon again to protect the innocent and safeguard humanity's future. As the UEF interceptor docked with the Prometheus, Morales and his battered team disembarked, carrying the wounded Ghost between them. Medics rushed to take Ghost to the infirmary, while Roach helped a shaken Rookie to his quarters. Janus and Arya were ushered away by the ship's diplomatic staff, leaving Morales alone with his thoughts. The debriefing was mercifully brief, with Morales giving a terse account of the mission's events. The loss of Mac weighed heavily on his mind, a dull ache that refused to subside. As he stepped out of the briefing room, he was greeted by a sea of cheering faces, the crew of the Prometheus, hailing him and his team as heroes. Morales forced a smile, shaking hands and accepting congratulations. But his heart wasn't in it. He couldn't shake the feeling that their victory was only temporary, that the Kragu would strike back with even greater force. His fears were confirmed when the ship's science team finished analyzing the data recovered from the Kragu base. The insectoid race was planning a massive invasion of Benzia Prime with the intention of enslaving the Benzite population and using them as test subjects for their biological weapons. Morales, his injuries still fresh and his grief for Mac Raw, knew what he had to do. He volunteered to lead a second mission, a preemptive strike against the Kragu invasion fleet. With Ghost and Rookie out of commission, he needed fresh blood on his team. Enter Reaper, a mysterious warrior with a reputation for ruthless efficiency. Morales had heard whispers of Reaper's exploits, the assassinations, the covert ops, the missions that officially never happened. He tracked Reaper down, convincing the enigmatic figure to join his squad. As the new team prepared for their mission, Arya sought out Morales. In the chaos of the rescue, he had almost forgotten about the young Benzite's presence. She revealed to him that she possessed powerful psychic abilities, a closely guarded secret among her people. Arya believed that her powers could be invaluable in the fight against the Kragu. Morales hesitated, his instinct to protect civilians warring with his need for every advantage against the insectoid menace. In the end, he relented, allowing Arya to join the team. The newly formed squad, Morales, Reaper, Roach and Arya, boarded a stealth shuttle, setting course for the nearby moon where the Kragu invasion fleet was assembling. As they approached the base, Reaper unveiled an arsenal of advanced weaponry, including a portable railgun and a gravity manipulation device. With Reaper's tech and skills, the team breached the base's defenses, fighting their way through waves of Kragu warriors. They pushed deeper into the facility, following the twisting corridors until they reached a heavily fortified central chamber. Inside they found the Kragu Queen, a towering figure connected to a vast array of neural interfaces. The Queen's eyes snapped open as Morales and Arya entered the room, her mandibles clicking in a chittering laugh. "Foolish mammals," she hissed, her voice echoing in their minds. "You think you can stop the inevitable. The Kragu will rise, and your pathetic species will be ground beneath our claws." Arya stepped forward, her eyes glowing with psychic energy. "Not if we have anything to say about it," she retorted, her mind reaching out to clash with the Queen's. Morales raised his plasma rifle, ready to face whatever horrors the Queen had in store. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of Benzia Prime and the future of the war against the Kragu. The Kragu Queen's mandibles clacked together in a staccato rhythm, her compound eyes flashing with malevolent glee as she faced off against Morales and Arya in the central chamber of the Kragu base. The Queen's mind pressed against Arya's psychic defenses, seeking to crush the Benzite's will and turn her against her human ally. Arya gritted her teeth, her forehead beading with sweat as she pushed back against the Queen's mental assault. Her eyes glowed with an ethereal light as she channeled her psychic energy, seeking to disrupt the neural link that connected the Queen to the Kragu invasion fleet. Morales, plasma rifle in one hand and monomolecular blade in the other, charged forward, his enhanced muscles propelling him towards the towering insectoid monarch. The Queen's guards, a pair of heavily armored Kragu warriors, moved to intercept him, their plasma scythes humming with deadly energy. Morales ducked under the first warrior's swing, his blade flashing out to sever the Kragu's leg at the joint. As the warrior collapsed, Morales leapt over its twitching body, firing his plasma rifle at the second guard. The bolts of superheated plasma seared through the Kragu's exoskeleton, reducing it to a smoking ruin. The Queen let out a shriek of rage, her mental assault on Arya intensifying. The Benzite staggered, her concentration faltering for a moment. Morales, seeing his allies' distress, redoubled his efforts, closing the distance to the Queen in a few powerful strides. The Kragu Queen lashed out with her own plasma scythe, the blade humming as it clashed against Morales' monomolecular sword. The two warriors traded blows, their movements a blur of speed and precision. Morales felt the Queen's scythe graze his side, the searing pain nearly causing him to drop his blade. At that moment, Arya let out a cry of triumph, her psychic energy surging forward to sever the Queen's connection to the Kragu fleet. The Queen staggered, her mental defenses crumbling under the Benzite's onslaught. Seizing the opportunity, Morales lunged forward, his monomolecular blade piercing the Queen's thorax and emerging from her back in a spray of viscous green ichor. The Queen let out a final, gurgling scream, her body twitching as Morales twisted the blade, ensuring the killing blow. As the Queen's lifeless body slumped to the floor, a sudden tremor shook the base. A series of explosions echoed through the corridors, the sound growing louder with each passing second. "She's triggered a self-destruct," Morales shouted, his eyes widening in alarm. "We need to get out of here now." Reaper, who had been guarding the entrance to the chamber, sprinted forward, his gravity manipulation device at the ready. "I'll create a barrier to contain the blast," he said, his voice eerily calm. "You two get to the shuttle." Morales opened his mouth to protest, but Arya gripped his arm, her eyes pleading. "We have to go," she urged, her voice trembling. "Reaper knows what he's doing." With a final anguished look at his comrade, Morales nodded, turning to follow Arya as they raced through the disintegrating base. Behind them, Reaper stood tall, his device creating a shimmering field of energy that held back the expanding fireball. As Morales and Arya reached the shuttle, they looked back to see the Kragu base engulfed in a massive explosion, the shockwave rippling out to consume everything in its path. Reaper's barrier held for a few precious seconds before it too was overwhelmed, the blast consuming the warrior in a blinding flash of light. Morales felt a hollow ache in his chest as he watched the explosion fade, the knowledge that Reaper had sacrificed himself to save them a bitter pill to swallow. With a heavy heart, he turned to Arya, his voice rough with emotion. "Let's go home," he said, his eyes fixed on the distant stars. "We've got a lot of work to do." The shuttle lifted off, leaving behind the smoldering ruins of the Kragu base and the shattered remnants of the invasion fleet. As they broke orbit, Morales couldn't help but wonder what the future held for the UEF and the Benzites, now that the lines between friend and foe had been so thoroughly blurred. In the days that followed, the Benzites expressed their gratitude to the UEF and the SOF team, showering them with praise and accolades. But beneath the surface, there was an undercurrent of unease, a growing realization that the humans' violent and unpredictable nature could be as much a liability as an asset. Morales, haunted by the loss of his teammates and the role his own aggression had played in the conflict, made the difficult decision to retire from active duty. He knew that if the UEF was to have any hope of building lasting alliances with other species, it would need soldiers who could balance strength with understanding, who could see beyond the battlefield to the common ground that united all sentient beings. To that end, Morales dedicated himself to training a new generation of SOF recruits, teaching them not just the art of war, but the importance of empathy and cultural sensitivity. He hoped that by instilling these values in the next generation of warriors, he could help prevent the kind of misunderstandings and conflicts that had led to so much bloodshed and loss. Arya, meanwhile, found herself torn between her loyalty to her own people and her growing admiration for the humans' courage and determination. She knew that the Benzites' pacifism, while admirable in theory, had left them vulnerable to the predations of races like the Kragu. In the end, she made the difficult choice to leave her homeworld behind, joining the UEF as a liaison and ambassador. She hoped that by serving as a bridge between the two species, she could help foster greater understanding and cooperation, and perhaps even prevent future conflicts from escalating into all-out war. As the story drew to a close, it became clear that the galaxy had been forever changed by the events on Benzia Prime and the Kragu moon. The UEF and the Benzites, once so different in their approaches to the universe, now found themselves inextricably linked, forced to navigate a new and uncertain landscape where the old rules no longer applied. But even as they struggled to find their way in this brave new world, there was a sense of hope, a belief that by working together they could overcome any obstacle and build a future where all species could thrive in peace and harmony. It was a future worth fighting for, and one that Morales and Arya were determined to see become a reality, no matter the cost. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.